Lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to brand a new video. We are going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. We are talking Kai Havertz completing his medicals today. It is done. He's going to become an Arsenal player next week. Mikel Arteta has also confirmed that Kai Havertz is a talent that he had to pay for. Arteta in an interview has confirmed that he wants to win the Premier League next season. That is our topic of discussion. Last campaign, a couple of rival fans thought that Arsenal were just lucky, and next campaign it's going to be much harder to win the Premier League. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of competition. It's going to be a lot harder to win the Premier League. But do you think Arsenal have the balls? Do you think Arsenal have the credit in the bank to go all the way and win the Premier League? Do you think we can replicate the season we had last campaign, but even make it better by going all the way to win the Premier League? Let me know. Mikel Arteta thinks next season is our season. And of course, Chelsea are also targeting now Ethan Nwaneri. After signing Omar Hutchinson from Arsenal last summer, it was a very bad move from Arsenal to fail to tie down Omar Hutchinson to another contract. It looks like Ethan Nwaneri is the other player that Chelsea are trying to steal from the Arsenal academy. He's already made a Premier League appearance with Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. Chelsea, Manchester City, all interested in getting Ethan Nwaneri to sign a deal with them. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. Let's get this video to 500 likes and let's dive into the latest around Arsenal together. Now, we're talking about Kai Havertz because today he's completed his, last part of his medicals. Yesterday, he did his first part of the medicals. We can confirm now that the medicals are done. He's completed his medicals. He did them from abroad. Now, I'm not really sure if Arsenal will announce him when he comes to the London colony, or actually we will do a virtual announcement, just do a couple of videos and things like that, and then we announce the player. But at least we can confirm that Kai Havertz is an Arsenal player. He's done his medicals, first part and second part, absolutely well. So and I think many of the conversations around Kai Havertz have been very, very speculative. But the manager, in an interview with the Marca today, that has actually come out today, has confirmed also that Kai Havertz is an Arsenal player, and he says he's a talent that he was always willing to spend money on. He's a talent that has shown a lot, especially in the UEFA Champions League with Chelsea. So that is why Arsenal signed him. So Mikel say that that talent comes at a price, and Arsenal were always interested in youngsters with experience. He says, I repeat, I'm not talking about players from other clubs, but in the case of Kai Havertz, he has already shown a lot, including a Champions League performance in a final. He is a talented player, versatile, and only 24. The Gunners are to make an official statement soon. 24-year-old believes he is joining Arsenal project. Joining the Arsenal project was the best option he had, not only in the Premier League but also in Europe. That is Mikel Arteta, and that is what is told the Marca. So this one pretty much done. What has actually impressed me is the fact that Mikel Arteta convinced Kai Havertz to join Arsenal, and a couple of other Arsenal players actually called Kai Havertz and messaged him as well. So it looks like we are working as a team, and we did work as a team to bring Kai Havertz to the Emirates Stadium. So Kai Havertz, in his own words, says that he thinks the Arsenal project is the best for him, not only in the Premier League but in Europe as well. Now, I don't know if we are the best project, but I can certainly confirm we are very, very close to being the best project in Europe. I think Napoli last season were very, very lucky that Inter Milan had a very big drop-off, and so they had that kind of free run to the title. Juventus also had points deducted. Yeah, I mean, no, Juventus wouldn't have won the title even when you add the points. But what I'm trying to say is that maybe if Juve had not had points deducted, they could have had a rough time, Napoli, to the title than they had. But anyway, Kai Havertz, medicals done, completed, confirmed by Mikel Arteta. He is an Arsenal player. Announcement to come either early next week, midweek, or later next week. I really cannot confirm when the announcement is gonna be coming in. Now, after that, Mikel Arteta, in the same interview with the Marca, believes that next season is Arsenal's season. He believes that Arsenal will go all the way to win the Premier League next season. We need to do a live stream about Arsenal's ambitions, and we will do a live stream about Arsenal's ambitions. But Mikel thinks that this is the time for Arsenal to go and win the Premier League since 2003, 2004. And listen, I think the big question is, do we have what it takes? Do we have enough credit in the bank now to go and challenge Manchester City? City, surprisingly, are investing more money in their centre-back areas. They're bringing in Josko Gvardiol. They already have Nathan Ake, John Stones, Ruben Diaz. Like, they have so many centre-backs. They have so many full-backs, but they're still trying to sign, some more. And that shows you that there is a top mentality, there is a top draw mentality at Manchester City. They are not resting. They keep on refreshing their squad day in, day out. Summer in, summer out. Week in, week out. They already have enough players to rotate with so that they don't suffer burnout. And I don't think even if they went for the treble, they will suffer a lot of burnout. Now, of course, there is no question here. I think City will be affected by their run for the title. Like, there's no question about that. They will be affected by their treble run. They will be affected. Burnout will be there. I think the psychological impact of we have already won it all, especially with the Premier League. They have won almost everything. It might kick in at the beginning of the season or even at the end of the season. Of course, we know how good City are at the end of the season. So for me, one, if Arsenal want to win the title, we need to replicate the first 19 games that we had last campaign, or even make them better. If Arsenal can go 19 games unbeaten, and look, we can't do that. We have proven that we have the resources. We have proven that we have the zeal, the quality, the talent, and the manager to do that at a top high level like the Premier League. So if Arsenal can replicate the 19 games, this is going to be very key. Go 19 games unbeaten, or maybe lose one and draw one in the first 19. That would strongly put us on top of the table, leading everyone else by maybe 8 to 7 points, 7 to 8 points. I think because I look at Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, and all these other clubs will improve massively. So the last part of the season is what we have to improve on. We have to maintain what we've done in the first 20 games, but then we have to improve massively how we perform in the last 11 games of the campaign. It is now 2 good seasons. Arsenal have tried to achieve something, and we've been let down by our performances in the last 11 games of the campaign. Last campaign, you know what happened. The campaign before that, while we're trying to go back to the UEFA Champions League, and we were battling out with Antonio Conte's Spurs, you still remember what happened. So for me, the first requirement is, one, we've got to replicate what we did in the opening 19 games of the campaign, but we need to massively step up our performances in the last 11 games. That is number one. Then number two, and this is going to be a very, very big challenge, is can we replicate the big performances we had last campaign? A win against Manchester United at the Emirates, a win against Liverpool at the Emirates, a win against Chelsea home and away, a win against Tottenham Hotspur home and away. We lost to Manchester City home and away, but that is not a big deal in my opinion. I think Arsenal are getting much better, and we're getting closer to where we want to be. We did have a win against Brighton away. We did have a win against Newcastle away. So can we replicate those results and even potentially and possibly make them much better? Because for me, if you can go away to Newcastle and win, you should beat them at home. If you can go away to Brighton and win, you should beat them at home. If you go away to Manchester United and put in a shift and a performance that you put in, you definitely have to come away with a point. If you lead 2-0 at the Anfield against a Liverpool side that was the worst ever since maybe Jurgen Klopp took over. Was that their worst season? Probably. You've got to walk away with 3 points. So we need to make many of the aspects of last campaign better, but then we also we are desperate to make sure that we maintain the performances, especially against the big clubs. Look, I think Manchester City have just done us, I don't know whether it is a service or a disservice, but they have set the bar too high that if you do not cross 85 points, you just cannot win the Premier League anymore, right? We are talking 100 points. We are talking 99 points. We are talking a Liverpool side that won this title at 99. Manchester City have won it at 98 before. I think that was last campaign, but one. They have also won it at 100. So if you cannot make 85 points, you are not in the conversation for the title. You are either second, you're either third, fourth, or even out of the top four. I highly reckon and I highly anticipate that in the coming seasons in the Premier League, we might see clubs accumulating up to 80, 82, 83 points, and they do not qualify for Europe. Like, they don't qualify for the UEFA Champions League. Because if City can make it to 100 points, definitely Liverpool have already shown their ability to make it to 98 points. I think Arsenal can always, in the next 3, 4, 5 seasons, we will always make it to around 84, 85 points. Man United have the ability to spend and make it to 84, 85 points, and Newcastle as well, around 80, 79. So you look at all these other clubs and the likes of Spurs, the likes of Chelsea, the likes of all these other clubs. There's a high possibility that a club will mark 80 points and they're outside the top 4 or potentially even the top 5 in the coming, in the near future. So if Arsenal want to win the Premier League, and if Mikel Arteta wants to win the Premier League in the coming season, we have to have enough credit in the bank. Now, do we have enough credit in the bank? No. That is my honest answer. We don't have enough credit in the bank, and this window, in this transfer window, and the coming one in January, it's going to be a recharge window, right? It's about recharging. It's about recharging your batteries and going again. I think we will be affected by trying to win the Premier League for 248 days on top of the table, and we don't win it. That could affect us positively by going, okay, if 248 didn't do it, how about 258 or 260 or 265? Can we stay at the Premier League on top of the Premier League table much longer? Okay, and then also if we didn't win it last campaign, we have to ask the questions: where did we go wrong? I think last campaign could be a motivation. Just like that Liverpool season where they were, chasing the Centurions, and then the next season they blew everyone out of proportion. So I expect Arsenal to be affected in such a way. But then it could also be the negative effect, the burnout, the psychological disbelief, building into our players that, until Pep Guardiola is still here, we are not winning the Premier League. But anyway, Mikel Arteta wants to win it. Do we have enough credit in the bank? In my opinion, the window decides. Okay, the project's still very, very young, early stages, but the window will decide. Okay, Chelsea are trying to sign Nwaneri from Arsenal. Now, Nwaneri is one of the, I think, most highly rated, young players in the Arsenal academy. It really reminds me of Omar Hutchinson. I really loved Omar Hutchinson, and I thought he was going to have some great future at Arsenal, and somehow Chelsea just prized him away from Arsenal. Now, Nwaneri could also follow in the footsteps of Omar Hutchinson, but I think Arsenal should not allow this to happen. Arsenal cannot allow this to happen. We have enough credit in the bank. We have enough counter arguments to make for any proposals that Chelsea will make to Nwaneri. One, you look at Emil Smith-Rowe, you look at Eddie Nketiah, you look at Florian Balogun, you look at Bukayo Saka, you look at Gabriel Martinelli. We have enough examples to persuade Nwaneri to stay at Arsenal. right? I don't think he's a player that doesn't want to stay at Arsenal. I think the fact that he's made a Premier League appearance for Mikel Arteta, it shows how much Pamet Saka rates him. It shows how the manager Mikel Arteta rates him. Now, of course, Nwaneri, I don't expect him to go, I want Premier League football. I want to start every single week in the Premier League. That would be ridiculous, and I don't think that is that is what he's going to demand, okay? But the fact that we've given him a Premier League appearance should communicate how much the manager rates him and how much this Arsenal project sees him as one of the future stars, okay? For me, if you look at Saka and you Ethan Nwaneri, and you look at Emil Smith-Rowe, and you look at Florian Balogun, and you look at Gabriel Martinelli, there is certainly a chamber in your heart that is opened up. There is certainly a layer of enthusiasm that is opened up for you to want to play for Arsenal at the topmost level. Trust me. Look, Chelsea have got a very, very good policy with young players. And they're like the Borussia Dortmund of the Premier League. They just get these young players and make a lot of money with them. And I think Arsenal's academy could also be doing the same. We're going to look at a self-sustaining model, our academy should turn into Chelsea. Grab young players from anywhere, raise them at a young age, and then sell them to support the first team. Nwaneri, for me, Arsenal should do whatever they can. And the fact that Chelsea and Manchester City are the two clubs interested, that should just communicate a lot. He's a top talent. Okay? Anyway, that is it. Medical done for Kai Havertz. Should be announced as an Arsenal player next week. Mikel Arteta wants the Premier League. Do we have enough credit in the bank? Comment box below.